Alright, so it's Friday, the 8th of June, 2018. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. Give you a video walkthrough of what's going on in my garden here, and holy jeez, it's really, really bright and really, really hot. I'm going to put shoes on. Be right back. Alright, in front of us we have the really, really large Tabasco that I overwintered. It's wilting horribly right now, but it does it every day because that sun up there is just beaming down even though it's behind a cloud right now. Here we've got yellow bells. They're not super tall yet. I'm not sure what's stunting their growth, but they're not getting nearly as tall as the bells normally do. However, they are looking pretty healthy. They're looking okay. Next to them here we've got the Moruga scorpion, which are considered the second hottest to the Carolina Reaper. They're producing a little bit here and there, but for the most part they've been doing a lot of growing since I got them, but they've got big healthy stalks and seem to be okay. Here we've got two of the Thai hots that I got. There were 4 of them in the pack and they're all 4 doing well. Got a couple buds coming in on that one. Actually quite a few down there. Here we've got Scotch bonnets. These are super popular around the world, especially in Caribbean dishes, and we even have a friend, little ladybug. Down here, got a couple of golden cayennes. One of them got eaten really bad, that one down there, by a lot of bugs, so I had to move it to a better location. Hopefully they'll be okay there. 2 more Tabascos I brought in over the winter. That little guy right there is a Peter Pepper that was struggling really bad. I moved it to a different pot and it's still struggling really bad, so I don't know if it's gonna do anything, but I'm not too worried about it because I have several others. This is the Bolivian rainbow. You see, got a lot of bright purple prettiness going on down there and a whole lot more to come. Looking forward to seeing what this thing looks like when they all start to change colors, because that's when it really starts to explode in beauty, I guess. This is the peach ghost, one that I have in a smaller container simply because I ran out of larger containers, and this one's probably got more blooms on it than any of the others, but that's because it reached max capacity earlier than the others. 2 more Thai hots. Got these in the grow bags that I picked up from Walmart. They're not actually grow bags, but they are the same thing as a grow bag, and they're working just fine. This is the unidentified one that I have out front. Still not sure what it is. It's possibly a Numex Twilight, but it goes from a whitish, or I guess these are more yellow than the other one. They're like a whitish yellow, and then they turn into this nice dark purple, and then immediately to red. There's no intermediate. This is a Bishop's Crown, and even though it's in a small recycled ice cream container, this thing is already like 2 feet tall and putting out plenty of pretty good sized pods. Happy about that. I've got one other one. I didn't grow a lot of sweets this year, but the other one that I have is in ground and it's huge. This one is, what is this one? 7-pot brown, I believe. Again, ran out of larger containers, so I stuck it in the smaller one. We've got 2 sweet bananas. They're in small 6-inch pots because, again, no more large containers, but you'll see they're producing. They're doing okay. I'll at least be able to get seeds from it. That's a Roma tomato. I pulled the pulled the sucker off of one of my other ones and stuck it in dirt, and now I've got a full-size plant that's really, really healthy and looking great. 2 more Scotch bonnets. Transplanted these very recently. I was only going to grow 2, but then the more recipes I looked up online, the more I saw we were using Scotch bonnets, so I decided I'm going to go ahead and grow as many of those as I can. And I've been pleased so far. They've grown well. This is the hydroponic. I don't have a freehand, but this is the hydroponic Peter Pepper that is producing quite a lot of rather large ones right now. None of them have ripened yet. One of them fell off the other day as I was examining it, and I was able to munch on it some, and they're potent. I thought they were going to be more mild than they are, but not bad considering there's not an ounce of dirt in this thing. It's all liquid in there. These are my 7-pot yellows. These are some of the tallest of the super hots that I have. They have gotten really, really big. Not too many buds on them, if any. I don't think I saw one now that I'm thinking about it, but they're healthy. There's a couple leaves that have been mangled, but Other than that, not too bad, no worse for the wear. Oh, what do you have here? That's a mealybug. We need to get rid of you. Get out of here. Here's a Roma tomato and its buddy, another Roma tomato. They're both doing okay. The plants are very healthy. However, the pods themselves, right there, blossom and rot. Can't do much about these to save them, but I added liquid CalMag, and calcium should be able to fix that problem right up for the ones that come out later. I hit it the other day, and there's a couple more on here that are looking okay. These do not have the rot on them at all. And the other one's got even larger ones, and they look okay. Actually, I'm going to skip those. I'll get to those in a minute. Trying to remind myself which one these even are. Oh, 7-pot brown. Okay, so 7-pot brown right here. Same as the yellow, but they've got a earthier flavor, and some say they're even hotter. These were some really badly struggling datil peppers. If you can see, the leaves are curled. This is a minor curl compared to what they were earlier in the season. They were really, really bad. I ended up pulling about half the leaves off because they were just curled to the point where I didn't see them actually doing anything for the plant anymore. But right down there, you see, let's see if we can get a focus on it. Come on. Come on. Couple of buds coming through right there. So, it's alive. This is the one poblano that I have. It's an annuum, so it's cutting quite tall. I don't believe it's really putting out yet, but it's spending a lot of its time growing, so no complaints there. Regular old, everyday jalapenos. Add the stick later. This one that looks like it's suffering really bad is a chocolate habanero that I just had to water. It had become bone dry down there, and it also looks like either some sort of pest or maybe also calcium deficiency is hitting this one. So I hit it with a little bit of CalMag and watered it a little extra. Hopefully that'll perk up. Those leaves will never heal, but they'll eventually fall off and be replaced with healthy ones. This one hit by the same thing. That's what makes me think it might not be calcium, but a little extra won't hurt it. Red habaneros, looking pretty good. Little crinkling on the leaves, but nothing too bad. And the ones I said we'd come back to, this smaller one here and this much larger one, are the ones I'm real excited about. The ahi pineapple. They are putting out very well. I'm just waiting for these to turn ripe. I don't want to wait any longer, but I need to, because if you don't let them turn yellow, they're missing a lot of their sweetness, and they are supposed to taste really, really good. I tried one last year. It was fantastic. It made me really excited to grow them, and hopefully this one will taste just as good and it didn't cross with something awful. This is a bush steak hybrid tomato my old man ordered for me. Well, he ordered for him and gave me one of them because they came in a pack of 3. And this is an old pot that I used. It was right next to one of the ghosts that was growing last year, so all those little green sprouts down there are likely ghosts. However, I'm not going to be saving many of them, but I just don't feel like plucking them up right now. Hail to the king, baby. That's the Carolina Reaper right there. It's looking good. This one over here is producing. It's got a couple of buds on it. This one I topped earlier in the season, so it's spending a lot more time growing. If you'll notice, that one is one trunk and it splits right there, and that's it. This one is one trunk that splits down there at the bottom where I cut it, and it's got about 4 or 5 larger offshoots that are as big as this one over here on the left. So this one's going to produce a lot more. It's just going to do it a lot slower. These are chocolate butlas, which are supposedly hotter than the Reaper, but I don't know. It's never been proven. So they say that the heat is unstable. The seeds are unstable. So that means that sometimes they'll be super hot, sometimes they won't. And I guess it's got to be more steady. But I'm looking forward to it because there's a bud. Had to move this guy outside today, my lovely bonsai habanero. He was hit by aphids, so trimmed up a couple of the branches that were hit really hard and moved it outside, rinsed it off. It should be fine. This is a peach ghost that is showing signs of some sort of deficiency. I'm thinking nitrogen, that's why it's a little yellow, but no worse for the wear. We've got actual pods on it, and they're looking pretty good. A little lighter in color than I'd like them to be, but I think it'll recover. This is a much healthier peach ghost. As you'll notice, it's growing a bit taller. Still putting out plenty of blooms here. Well, not blooms, but it's got the buds. They'll pop out soon. So this is the Delight of Nikolai, my catnip. Did not plant a single seed of this year. This is all left over from last year. I just left the plant out, or I left the planter out over the winter, came back and started getting a whole bunch of green sprouts, so I'm letting it go. This one is a seed that fell into another pot, so I pulled it out and put it into a container by itself. So that one seed is actually producing a really nice plant there. This is the big guy that I had over winter. This is the ghost that is just completely covered all over with these things. These are going to ripen real soon. It can't be much longer. They've been on there for a couple of weeks. That is a Peter pepper that was struggling with being a little bit dry earlier today, so I watered it. It's starting to perk up, so being hopeful about this one. I don't know how much different it's going to taste. This one's actually kind of a test to see the difference in flavor between soil grown and the hydroponic over there. And I believe this might be the last one I have here. This is just a regular everyday orange habanero. It was sort of an afterthought to even stick this one in dirt, but I did, and it's growing really, really well. These things love our climate here. That pretty much covers everything. I would zoom back over to my face so you can hear me talking straight to you, but truth be told, it's so damn hot. I'm sweating profusely now, so I refuse to do that. So that's a walk through my backyard. Maybe sometime soon I'll take you through the front yard. It'll be a much shorter video because there's only about 7 plants out there. Well, it's a little bit later in the day now. Sun is on its way down. It's a lot cooler out. I'm not going to actually die, so I figured I'm going to come out front and show you what we got going on up here. Like I said, it's going to be much shorter, but I figured why wait for another day when I could just knock it all out at once. So here we go. This is a really, really large pot. I don't know how much it is, or how large it is in terms of gallons, but I do know that it's got to be at least 10, maybe 15. So I threw this Bolivian rainbow in it, hoping that it would get much, much larger. It still might. I know that it's probably been rooting this whole time, but there's a couple little things, a little one pod at least going down in there, and a bunch of blooms. But being up front, for whatever reason, everything seems to be really susceptible to bugs. This one is no different. In these two containers, we've got the same unidentified pepper that we had out back that I thought might have been a New Mex Twilight, but I don't know. I think those are a little bit wider, but here we get to see the initial color. Although the first ones were much whiter than this. I do not know. See, like closer to that. That's almost white, but I guess it's still a little bit yellow. But these are like a yellowish green that turn to purple, and then they become a nice solid purple, and then this bright red color. So they're real pretty. I haven't tried one yet, but I imagine it being an ornamental, it's probably going to be really seedy and probably not terribly delicious. Just a few feet away over here, we've got the real stuff going on. That's a bishop's crown. These things just, they spread out so much. That thing is the tallest one that I've got, and by far the widest. This is the same species as the ahi pineapple, so they get big leaves and they spread out and produce quite a bit. There's a lot of buds on there, but no pods that I've seen yet. And as you see, lots of bug damage, slugs, snails, grasshoppers like crazy, but it's surviving. Just like this Orange Belle, this one's doing quite well. I got the seed from an Orange Belle that I got at Harris Teeter. You can pull the seeds directly from those and seriously throw them in ground, and they will produce wonderful plants. And given that it's commercial, you can guarantee that that seed was grown in a huge field full of the things, so the odds of it being cross-pollinated are basically nil. The plant that has probably been hit the worst by bugs, or maybe even a rabbit at one point, had taken like the top half of this. It couldn't have been any taller than this. But this is my Cubanelle. It's a sweet pepper. I don't know. It may survive all this. It looks like it's healthy. It's going to be stunted for sure, but it's working out. It's making its way back up there. We've got this littler one here in the middle, and this one over here with the yellow leaf at the bottom. Those are the other two Scotch bonnets. I got them in a small pack of 6, and as I said, I wanted to plant as many of them as I could once I realized how prolific they were and how much they'd be used. So I went ahead and did that. Here we've got another of the King, the Reaper. You can still see, even as healthy as that plant is, those leaves, they're Swiss cheese. And this is seriously the best it's looked. And finally, the last of the 7-pot yellows. The stem at the bottom of this thing, it's kind of hard to tell because it's hard to measure, but that thing is thick. It is huge. I really didn't need this tomato cage, but honestly, once a hurricane starts to come through here, you never know. But that's it. That pretty much covers it all. This was meant to be an experiment, but it's working out really well. So next year, probably going to take the front garden a little bit more seriously and put more in it, and we'll see what happens. Y'all have a great weekend.